Welcome into New York Giants Now by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Marshall Green, and today's live show is presented by Aura, an all-in-one digital safety tool that will help you stay protected online, because we do more online now than ever. So get started with the 14-day free trial at aura.com/chatsports. I'll have the link to that in the comments, description, the live chat. Go click on it. Get started today, because look, you want to protect yourself, protect your credit card. I had my debit card hacked into just last week. I was sleeping. I wasn't hooked up with Aura, but I changed that the very next day. Now I am, and nothing has happened since. So make sure you protect yourself and your family members as well, because they offer family plans of up to 5 people. Get started today for absolutely zero charge. Aura.com/chatsports. We're in the heartbeat of the NFL offseason as well as the NBA offseason. So I thought this was a good question to start today's show. Who has the better offseason? Is it the NFL or is it the NBA? I think the NFL probably had the most exciting offseason I can remember in a very long time. We saw a lot of really big-time players get traded, signed somewhere else. I mean, a guy named Tom Brady retired, then a couple of weeks came back. But I'm not sure that the NFL offseason really has the same buzz that the NBA one does. Just free agency is crazy in the NBA, and sometimes I think the NBA offseason is actually more entertaining than the actual season, and that's not even close to the same in the NFL. Nothing is better than NFL games. The offseason's cool, but I would say I prefer the games in the NFL more than the offseason, whereas in the NBA, I actually might like the offseason better than the games. But let me know, who do you think has the better offseason, the NFL or the NBA? What's going on? I see a lot of people in the chat. Maddie's in the chat. Trisha, The Hammy, Timothy, TYR, Mr. NY Stadium. What's up, man? He says the NFL. Trisha says the NFL. Hammy says the NFL did. Anthony Raza, my brother's in the chat. NFL, go Giants, he says. Rosario says, hey, Raza. Rosario, hey, what's up to you, man? I'm just here talking. The Hammy says, let's go, baby. The NFL, I think, did have some juice this past offseason. But when you have rumors about guys like Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving and the big fish in the sea, Jalen Brunson, if you're a Knicks fan, you know that's what's keeping everyone up to date or intrigued for the NBA offseason. Rosario says, I am a Knicks fan. Well, check us out, youtube.com/KnicksTV, because I host our content over there. What about this question, though? We'll focus it in more on New York Giants stuff. Who was the better running back for the Giants? One of the best duos in NFL history, probably the best running back duo the Giants have ever had. So I'll ask you the question. This one's a tough one. I'm going to ask you guys some tough questions today. I want you guys to deliver the tough answers. Who was better for the Giants? Was it Brandon Jacobs, type 27, or you can type 34, the number he wore his second tour with the Giants? A little good trivia question there. Or is it Ahmad Bradshaw, type 44? Who I think is better? I would say overall Brandon Jacobs was a better running back, but towards the end of their tenure, both of them with the Giants, Bradshaw took his job as RB1, and he was more exciting. He was more dynamic. He was better in the receiving game. So as a whole, overall player, receiving, blocking, and rushing, I'll give it to Bradshaw. But nobody wanted to see 6'4", 265-pound Brandon Jacobs coming down the middle of the line of scrimmage and having to tackle him, because he's just built different. He's what Derrick Henry was back in 2008 and 2012. I got a whole bunch of 27s coming in the comment section. I've only seen 144, and that's from our chat moderator, who's a Cowboys fan, so you can boo him in the comments, boo Brett. But I got 27 from Raymond, Mr. NY Stadium, Twizzy, Ty, Timothy, Twizzy, the Hammy. Come on, man, I can't answer that question. Yes, you can. I trust you. I believe you can. Anthony says 27. He said he has his jersey. Michael says 27. And Rosario says 27. Now that we got a couple people in here, 33 people watching live, 11 likes, I want to know where you're watching from. Let me know. Shout out your city. We are recording this live from the Chat Sports Studios in Dallas, Texas. Enemy territory. I work with too many Cowboys fans. It sucks. So I don't really get to talk Giants football unless I'm talking to you guys. But I want to know where you're watching from. Shout out your city, because Giants fans, we are all over the globe, coast to coast. It's probably my favorite portion of the show, where I get to see where you guys are watching from. So let me know. Be proud, be loud. Rep it in the comments section right now. Michael, he's from Boca Raton, Florida. Huh? Boca Raton. Thank you, Petey. He knows I'm not very geography friendly. That's where Lane Kiffin coached college football. All right, got a little history lesson. King Wolf's in the chat from New Jersey. Same with Timothy from New Jersey. Twizzy says, do you think the Giants can get 9 to 10 wins if everything goes good and everyone's healthy? It's a good question. I think their best case scenario is about 9 or 10 wins. But that means everything has to go well. Everybody's got to stay healthy. Best case scenario, Twizzy. Marcus, yes, and Twizzy, if you have another question, use hashtag Giants in your question so we can get you in on the mailbags coming up later in today's show. We got Syracuse, New York from Marcus. Rosaria's from Louisiana. Steven is from Jacksonville, Florida. Duval. Is that how they do it? I don't really get that. Yeah, that would be like me when I went into college at North Texas saying Denton because it's Denton County. It's a weird. Florida people are built different, but you're obviously built different, Steven, because you're watching today's show. Shout out to you, Demetrius. He's from Athens. Anthony Raza already getting his question in, my guy. Michael Krause, he says Las Vegas odds for Giants is for 7.5 wins. I think that's a good number. I could see the Giants winning 6, 7, 8, or 9 games. Let's get to the next question. Let's take a trip down memory lane. I saw some cool stuff on Twitter today about Super Bowl 42 and Super Bowl 46. I don't know which one I enjoyed more as a fan. It might be 42 because that was the first Super Bowl as a fan I got to digest. But maybe it was 46 because beating Tom Brady twice showed us that Eli Manning is the real deal and it wasn't a fluke and it wasn't just a helmet catch that had us win that game. But let me know in the comments section. What Super Bowl did you enjoy more as a fan of the New York Football Giants? Was it Super Bowl 42 or was it Super Bowl 46? Raymond says 42 hands down. Oh, man, I have a soft spot for both, so I can't really say. Fred Green says Super Bowl 42. Mr. NY Stadium says 46. Twizzy, I like that name, says 42. Look, if I had to say, I think it would be 46 because the second time was that much sweeter. I understand the first time. We stopped the Patriots from going undefeated. But when you doubled back and you did it twice, you proved everybody wrong. You proved to yourself, to the Giants coaches, to all the Giants fans that it wasn't a fluke because you do something twice, it's not. Tyree, 42 from Michael. Connor says 46. Anthony says 42, beating the Patriots to end the perfect season. I can't argue with that. Timothy says 42 because Eli and the Giants spoiled TB12. Michael says 42, and Rosario says 42 as well. I agree as well, 42, but I also agree that 46. Maybe I'm being lame. I'm not choosing. But I do want you guys to get hooked up with Aura because you do more online now than ever. And Aura does more to keep you safe. So get started with a 14-day free trial to protect yourself online and your family members. Get started today. Aura.com/chatsports. I'll have the link to that in the comment section, description, and live chat of today's show. You don't want your credit card or your debit card getting hacked into like I did a couple of weeks ago. So get hooked up with Aura because they'll protect you online as we do more online now than ever. Get started today. 14-day free trial. Aura.com/chatsports. In today's show, we got 2 mailbags to get to where I'm going to answer your guys' questions live on today's show. But you got to use hashtag Giants for my producer, Matthew Peterson, to pull your questions. So just like you see it on the screen, hashtag right about, my hand went missing. Hashtag Giants. It's got to be all one word. No spaces. You guys like to do that a lot, but no spaces. Hashtag Giants. Or you can super chat to get onto today's show. We started it last week. Every super chat we get, it's guaranteed you to get on the show. And I'll take 2 shots, that's right, for every single super chat. But if you're ready for the show, with 38 people watching and 14 likes, I want you to go down right now and hit that like button. Look, the easiest way to show support is by hitting that like button and sharing this video to as many New York Giants fans as you know. Because once you hit that like button, YouTube knows that they need to share this to other Giants fans. More likes equals more viewers, and that means we can get to 10,000 subscribers faster than we need to. Because, look, we're less than 300 subs away. I want to get there as soon as possible because once we get to 10K, my boss told me I'm getting a raise. You know what I'm saying, Brett? But, like the video. I'm ready to talk about the latest Giants news and rumors. So if you are, go down right now and hit that thumbs up button. 42 people watching live, 15 likes. Make sure to get your questions in. Hashtag Giants, because we're starting today's show with a mailbag. And if you want to be featured on it, you got to use hashtag Giants, or you can super chat. Tutu, you out there somewhere? Let's rise. Raymond, you're right. Come on, let's get this man a raise. Raymond, I like you, brother. I like you. We good? All righty, let's do a Giants Rumors mailbag right now. What's going on, everybody? You're watching New York Giants Now by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Marshall Green. And we're about to get into a Giants mailbag where I answered your questions live from our live show that airs every Wednesday at 4 p.m. Eastern. So subscribe and turn your notifications on so you can join us during our live shows. We're trying to get to 10,000 subscribers. We're less than 300 subs away. So if you love the Giants and you're looking for videos on the latest Giants news and rumors every single day, Giants Now by Chat Sports has you hooked up. Go down right now and hit that big red button. Question number 1 rolling in from my guy Twizzy. Hashtag Giants. Do you think the Giants are a sleeper team heading into the season? By sleeper, do you mean a sleeper team that could make the playoffs? A sleeper team that could compete for the playoffs? We'll go for that. I don't think anybody is really expecting the New York Football Giants, led by Daniel Jones and Brian Daboll, to be a team that's going to compete to make the 2022 and 2023 NFL playoffs. But if we've learned anything about the NFC East, that is a crazy division. And the predictable never really happens in that division. It's so hard to repeat as champions in the NFC East. Cowboys won it last year. Who knows if they'll be able to repeat. But I do think the Giants right now are being slept on a little bit. Their over-under win total for the season based on Vegas's odds is 7.5. I have the Giants winning 8 or 9 games. So sleeping, maybe snoozing a little bit. But what I expect for the Giants is to just compete. Get better every single game. And all the questions you have that are unanswered entering the season that revolve around Daniel Jones, Saquon Barkley, Kenny Golladay, Kadarius Toney, Sterling Shepard, and all the injuries on defense. Answer those questions and find out as an organization how you need to move forward. Do you need to re-sign Daniel Jones? Do you need to re-sign Saquon Barkley? Just get better every single game. No QB sneaks on second and third down, and just continue to get better. But yes, I do think they're sleeping, but not too much. Got some audio issues. 1 second. Hold on. A little twisted. Hold on, Petey. Appreciate you. How are we looking now? We're good? All right, audio a little bit better. My bad, Twizzy. Sorry if I didn't get you, if you couldn't hear all that. All righty, Timothy on this next question coming up. Timothy, what up, man? Hashtag Giants. Will the Giants trade Daniel Jones, 2023 first and second rounders, and a 2024 first rounder to the Browns for Baker Mayfield and a 2024 third rounder? The Giants are not going to trade for Baker Mayfield. It really doesn't make all that much sense for them. They are all in on making sure Daniel Jones has every opportunity in the book to prove to himself, the Giants fans, and the Giants decision makers, and Joe Schoen, Brian Daboll, and the rest of the front office, if he can be the guy moving forward. And you're already paying him a good amount of money. And Baker Mayfield's going to be a guy that's going to command $18 million this year. So paying upwards of $33 million to your quarterbacks of Baker Mayfield and Daniel Jones just doesn't really make all that much sense to me, especially when you consider the fact that the New York Giants are kind of in a cap situation where they're not in a spot where they can just take on $18 million. They're about $7 million under the cap right now, so they have $7 million to spend. But as we know, most teams want to keep $5 to $10 million in the bank to roll over into the season in case injuries happens, to stay flexible, to make a trade, and then you roll that leftover cap into next season. So Timothy, no, I do not see the Giants trading for Baker Mayfield. Anthony, what's up, man? Who is the biggest sleeper to have a big year on the Giants roster this year? A sleeper. Whew, that's a good question. Let's start with on the defensive side of the ball. Maybe not a sleeper, but I feel like a guy that not a lot of people are talking about and should be talking more about. What about Azeez Ojulari, the second-year edge rusher out of Georgia, the second-round pick, but in 2021, he played like one of the best rookies in the NFL. 8 sacks, 8 tackles for loss, a forced fumble, almost 50 tackles. I'm expecting Ojulari to take another step and show that he could be a foundational piece that this Giants staff and front office can build around. Because look, right now it might be crazy to say, but going into the offseason, one of the weaker spots on this Giants team was edge rusher. And right now I don't think you can say that. I think it might be their most important and most skilled position when you think about Kayvon Thibodeau, Azeez Ojulari, Leonard Williams, Quincy Roche looked good as a rookie. Ellerson Smith hopefully can take a step his second year in the NFL. So I'm expecting Ojulari to man up and get to the rate where he can be one of the best edge rushers in the NFL. Be a 1-2 tandem with Thibodeau and Ojulari, two guys that can be your outside edge rushers for the next 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years. I want Ojulari to compete as one of the best edge rushers and maybe be Defensive Player of the Year. I think he has that potential. 8 sacks as a rookie, build off of that. Continue to build your name in the NFL and cement yourself as a long-term piece for the Giants. But I'll ask you guys this question about Ojulari. 10 sacks this year in the 2022 NFL season. Over or under? I picked 10 because that's 2 more than he had his rookie season with 8. So sound off in the comments and let me know. If you think he's going to have more than 10 sacks, type O for over. Or if you think he's going to have less than 10 sacks this season, you could type U for under. Rosario, what up, man? Giants will Barkley and DJ ball out this year. If they want to be back with the New York Football Giants in the 2023 season, they're going to have to, because both of them are on the last years of their rookie deal. Saquon's playing on that 5th-year option, and Daniel Jones is playing on the 4th year of his rookie deal, and his 5th-year option was declined by Joe Schoen and the Giants. I'm expecting them to have both better years than they had last year, and that's not really going out on a limb and, predicting too much. Neither really had great years. But I'm not sure just having better years than what they did last year will cement themselves in the plans of the Giants for the next couple of years. I think Daniel Jones might have to lead the Giants to the playoffs for him to be re-signed and designated as the franchise quarterback going forward. Saquon Barkley is going to have to play all 17 games and be a top 10, top 12 running back in the NFL if the Giants are going to give him big-time money. I'd pay him about $12 million per year, similar to what Nick Chubb got from the Cleveland Browns. But to answer your question, Rosario, yes, I do think they ball out, but to what degree, I'm not sure. They're going to have to really make a strong impression if they want to be re-signed by the Giants. Mr. NY Stadium, what's up, Brody? If Daniel Jones and Saquon Barkley have a good season, which one will you keep for next year? If Daniel Jones and Saquon Barkley both have good seasons, I could see them both being back. But if they both have good seasons and I can only choose one of them, I'm going to roll with Daniel Jones because he's the quarterback. If you can get your hands on a young quarterback that just had a good season in the first year of a new system with Brian Daboll and Mike Kafka and a new offensive coordinator, a new O-line coach, a new quarterback coach, and Shea Tierney, then I think you build around that guy. You build around Jones because, as we know, it is hard to find a franchise quarterback in the NFL. But that just one season doesn't make you a franchise QB. But he's got to give you the confidence that he can be the guy that you can move with going forward. That's a great question, Mr. NY Stadium. So I'm going to go back and ask you guys the same question. Which one of these guys is going to be back on the Giants in the 2023 season? Which one is going to re-sign or sign an extension to be back wearing the New York Giants blue? I challenge all Giants fans to get in the comments and let me know. Predict it. Go out on a limb. Be brave. Type 8 for Daniel Jones, or you can go down and type 26 for Saquon Barkley. If you haven't yet, make sure you show New York Giants Now by Chat Sports some love over on Rumble, because we are growing to platforms that you guys use. If you've never heard of Rumble, it's very similar to YouTube, except it's a little bit more uncensored and edgy, and we're posting Giants content over there for absolutely zero charge, for free. So give us a follow. Rumble.com/NYGiantsTV to stay up to date on another platform on daily Giants news and rumors. We'll get to another question here. My guy Twizzy coming in with the second one. All good. Kayvon and Azeez will be scary this season. No doubt about it. This will be one of the best duos the Giants have seen at the edge rusher spot in a very long time. And I think if these guys can live up to the hype that all Giants fans are putting on them about being the next great duo, could they, in the next 5 years, could we look back and say, this rivals the Justin Tuck and the Osi Umenyiora duo? That would be best case scenario. And I don't think it's a stretch to say that. Thibodeau, Top 5 pick, for sure. Has the talent to be one of the best Giants rushers ever. And so does Ojulari, someone that was projected to be a first-round pick. Had some injury red flags come up in the 2021 draft, but he showed everybody that he belongs in the NFL and should have been a first-round pick after having 8 sacks his rookie season. So I agree, Twizzy. I do think Ojulari and Thibodeau, they're going to be scary not only this season, but hopefully for the near future for the New York Giants. Ryan Chinsky, what up, man? What do you think about trading for a cornerback? Maybe like Bradley Roby. Heard he has been on the trade block, and Saints are deep at cornerback. Yes. According to the latest Saints news and rumors, and trade rumors specifically, Bradley Roby has all of the smoke and all the trade rumors surrounding him. The Saints, they're deep at corner. They have a lot of good players there, which has the Bradley Roby looking on the outside in when it comes to the depth chart. He didn't play all that well in 2021, but he has played good in the past. This past year, in just 14 games played, gave up just 306 yards, which is not a lot. Had 5 pass breakups, had 1 interception, allowed 1 touchdown, but it's the completion percentage allowed, which is 70% for Bradley Roby. That somewhat scares me. Do I think the Giants will go out and trade for him? Probably not. It will only cost the Giants a little less than $2 million to take on Roby's salary in a trade, but I really do believe that Joe Schoen and Wink Martindale want to build this young Giants defensive backfield. When you have guys like Aaron Robinson, who you selected in the 3rd round of the 2021 draft, and Darnay Holmes, who was an early draft pick as well, you want to see what they can do. You just drafted Cordell Flott in round 3, so I believe they want to see him play. And it sounds like Rodarius Williams is looking good. Michael Jacquet has looked good, and so is Dorsey. So look, on paper, is it scary? Because we're not ready to see Robinson as cornerback 2 for sure. But I don't think it's all or nothing for the Giants this year, and that's how they're moving about it. They want to see what they can get from the young guys, and Robinson, and Holmes, and Flott. Going out and trading for a guy like Roby doesn't do anything except eliminate the reps from the young guys. So no, I don't think the Giants will go out and trade for Roby. Do I think they can go out and trade for another cornerback, a veteran? I think that still is on the table. So I'll ask you that question exactly. Do the Giants need to sign or trade for another cornerback this offseason before we get to week 1 of the 2022 NFL season? This is your chance to be a part of the show and school me up in the comments section. Type Y for yes, or if you think, yo, we're good in the cornerback room, we don't need anyone else, you can go down and type N for no. Last question from my guy Timothy. If DJ and Taylor get hurt during practice or in the preseason, will Webb step up and take the reins as the starting quarterback? Well, I don't know if he'll step up and take the reins, but he's their quarterback 3 right now, Davis Webb. And what a funny career path Davis Webb has had. When the Giants drafted him, he was going to be the Eli Manning replacement. Then they cut him. Then he bounces all around, and he ends up with the Buffalo Bills last year, and he's with Brian Daboll and Joe Schoen. And there was rumors that he was going to become their next QB coach. But he followed Daboll and Shea Tierney to come and be the emergency 3rd-string quarterback for the New York Giants. I don't really know what to expect from Davis Webb if he gets out there. If Tyrod Taylor and Daniel Jones get hurt, that means we're sucking for C.J. Stroud and we're blowing for Bryce Young. Tank, and go get the next franchise quarterback for the Giants. All right, let's get some shout-outs. Do the Giants need to sign or trade for another cornerback? Let me know in the comments section. I think we had that super chat come in as well. Michael Krause says yes. Rosario says yes. Rosario says from your lips to God's ears. Michael Krause says yes. All right, $5 super chat from Michael. Let me get the shots going for you, Michael. I made a promise. I wouldn't let you down. I appreciate it. MVP of today's show. Every super chat gets you up on screen, and it means I got to take 2 shots. And I'm ready to party, so let's ride. Oh, yeah, that's good. All right, down the hatch. Let's roll. Michael, appreciate you. D Giant, what is he saying? I love Barkley, but I'm rolling with Danny Dimes. That's baby Eli. Baby Eli, maybe they look alike, but Daniel Jones has to do a lot more to be called baby Eli. He's got to live up to a lot. I like Daniel, but he hasn't shown it yet, in my opinion, that he can be the guy the Giants can count on. It sucks because we had a lot of high hopes on coming out when he came out of Duke, and he was a first-round pick. But look, We can only roll with what you've done on the field. And right now, that didn't warrant getting your fifth-year option picked up, and it doesn't warrant a contract extension yet. But look, the ball's in his court. Control what he can control. He's got 17 more games to prove it. We're about to get into some make or break candidates, but if you didn't get your question on the first New York Giants mailbag, use hashtag Giants right now or Super Chat like my guy Michael did, who's the MVP of the show. Because after we talk about some make or break season candidates, guys that have, are living on their last life as a New York Giant, that have to prove it's now or never. We'll talk about them. After that, we'll get to another mailbag. So use hashtag Giants to get your questions in for that one. Yeah. Alrighty, let's do it. Let's talk about some make or break candidates this year for the Giants. The Giants as a whole in 2022 and 2023 have a lot to prove. Daniel Jones, Saquon Barkley, Kenny Golladay, Blake Martinez. A lot of players are on make or break seasons. If it doesn't go well this year, it'll be their last year wearing Giants blue. So before we get into today's show, I want to ask you this question. What player on the Giants roster has the most to prove? Welcome into New York Giants Now by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Marshall Green. And in today's show, we're going to take a look at 5 make or break candidates for the Giants in the 2022 NFL season. 5 guys that point blank have their lives on the line as New York Giants. If they don't play well, this will be their last year wearing Giants blue. And I think you know who we're starting with. Daniel Jones. Danny Dimes. He's the biggest one in my opinion. When you're the quarterback and you're playing on the last year of your contract, and it doesn't sound like the Giants really have any plans to go out and give you a contract extension prior to this season, he's going to have to show himself, Joe Schoen, Brian Daboll, Mike Kafka, and Shea Tierney that he is the guy that will prevent the Giants from going out and making a trade for a quarterback, or going out and signing a quarterback in free agent, or going and drafting a quarterback in the first round to replace him in the NFL draft. Has Daniel Jones played good before? Yes, we all know about the rookie season. 62% completion rate, 3,000 yards, 24 touchdowns, and 12 interceptions in 12 games. But since then, since Pat Shurmur got out of there and Jason Garrett took over, Daniel Jones' production fell off a cliff. In 2020, 11 touchdowns. In 2021, 10 touchdowns. Did he have some great moments? Yes, but I feel like he's regressed as a quarterback, and especially under pressure in the pocket. Back in 2019, he threw for 50 first downs while under pressure, which was the 12th most in the National Football League. In 2020, he got better in this statistic. He threw for 53 first downs under pressure, which was the 8th most in the NFL. But this past year was arguably his worst year in the NFL as a starting quarterback. It sucks because he missed the last 6 games due to that neck injury. But when you go back and you get worse from your second year to your third year under pressure and only throw for 28 first downs under pressure compared to 50, that's a problem. Will that change this year? Hopefully. Hopefully this will be the best offensive line he's ever played with before. But it's now or never for Daniel Jones. If he can't show the Giants' decision makers that he's the guy moving forward, that they can build around and give a contract extension to, and trust that he can make the Giants relevant and get back into chasing Lombardis and competing to make the playoffs, then I think the easy decision is that Joe Schoen is not going to re-sign him, let him walk in free agency, and try to find a replacement. The ball is in Daniel Jones' court. He needs to control what he can control, get better every single game, and make it really tough on Joe Schoen and have him say, you know what, you're not the guy. All Daniel Jones can do is go out and play great. And if he does that, I have a good feeling he'll be back next year. But I'll ask this question. Do you believe in Daniel Jones? Can he be the franchise quarterback of the New York Football Giants? Type go DJ for yes. I think Daniel Jones is the guy. Or if you're unsure and you don't know if DJ's the guy, you can go down and type no DJ if you're not sold and you don't trust or believe in Daniel Jones. What about another guy that's set to make a lot of money in the 2022 and 2023 season in Leonard Williams? You might be surprised and say, why would Leonard Williams be on this list? We'll get down to the cap implications in a second. But when you're paid as one of the highest paid defensive players in the NFL, especially on the defensive line, you need to make an impact every single game. And as Giants fans, sometimes we feel like Leonard Williams Doesn't always do that. Is he a good football player? No doubt about it. What he's done with the Giants in his NFL career so far in 2.5 seasons and 41 games, he's been great. But if he gives you that 2019 season where he had just half a sack in 7 games and 4 tackles for loss, he'll be out. But if he gives you what he gave you in 2020, where he was one of the best defensive linemen in football with 11.5 sacks and 16 tackles for loss and 30 QB hits, the Giants will keep him on board. And the reason there's going to be a decision based around this is because the Giants, they could save $18 million with just an $8.3 million dead cap hit if they cut Leonard Williams after the 2022 NFL season. If he doesn't play well, if he doesn't live up to the money he's supposed to get, Joe Schoen is going to move off of him because $18 million is a lot of cheddar that you can go out and replace him with, a younger player that's on the uphill of his career. I still think Leonard Williams has a lot to give to the game. I think he really is the heartbeat of the New York Giants defense. But the NFL stands for not for long. And if he doesn't play great this year, I could easily see Joe Schoen and the Giants front office and Wink Martindale moving on from Leonard Williams. But it's up to him. If he plays great, he'll be back. If he doesn't, it's going to have to be a decision that Joe Schoen's going to have to make. So I'll ask you this question. Be Joe Schoen. Take the seat of the general manager. What would you do with Leonard Williams? Are you going to keep him for next season in 2023? Or do you think the Giants should cut him and get that large salary cap relief? Let me know. Type K for keep, or you can go down and type C for cut. And if you love the New York Football Giants, just go down right now and hit that big red button. Because I'm going to say it, we're the best channel on YouTube covering the New York Football Giants. Nobody's doing what we're doing, putting out videos every single day in June and July on the latest news and rumors. We're going live once a week. We offer the best audience interaction. So if you're looking for a YouTube channel to rock out with when it comes to the New York Giants, we're your guys, youtube.com/NYGiantsTV, and we're less than 300 subscribers away. So help us get to 10K. We'll do it for Eli. Go down and hit that big red button right now. What about a playmaker on the offensive end? The most tenured Giant on the team, Sterling Shepard. Sterling Shepard's on the last year of his deal after he agreed to a contract restructure to pretty much stay on the Giants. He took a lot less money, to stay with the Giants. They reworked his deal, and he's on a 1-year deal. And if he doesn't play well, if he misses a lot of games to injury like he has in the past, this will be his last year wearing Giants blue. I love Sterling Shepard. He's one of my favorite players on the Giants. I love him as a player. I love him as a teammate. I love him as a leader. And he's someone I want to be a part of this team. Because when he's healthy, he's one of the best slot receivers in the NFL. In 2018, 70 grabs, 870 yards, 4 touchdowns. But in 2019, he started to get bit by the injury bug. He's played just 10, 12, and 6 games over the last 3 years. He has to stay on the field. He's coming back from that Achilles injury. But let's go back to the first 2 weeks of the 2021 season. Sterling Shepard was arguably the most productive player on the Giants during those first 2 games against the Broncos, against the Falcons. He had 16 grabs for 200 yards and a touchdown in 2 games. Sterling Shepard went on the field and healthy, in my opinion, no bias, is one of the most dependable and reliable third down receivers outside the slot. He can work out of the slot. He can bounce on the outside. Him and Daniel Jones have a strong connection. They trust each other. Jones knows where Shepard's going to be on third down. He drops back and he looks for 87 or 3. He's done that his whole career. But if Shepard does not play, I'll say north of 13 games this season, I think this might be his last year with the New York Football Giants. If you haven't yet, follow New York Giants Now by Chat Sports on Rumble, rumble.com/NYGiantsTV. I'll put the link to that in the comments and description of the video. Here at Chat Sports and especially Giants Now, we are growing like crazy. And we are just a couple hundred subs away or followers away on Rumble from 3,000. So join the squad. Give us a follow on Rumble, rumble.com/NYGiantsTV for another way to digest daily New York Giants videos on the latest news and rumors. Let's shift to the defensive side of the ball and a linebacker. What about Blake Martinez as a make-or-break season candidate? He's coming off that torn ACL, and he's also on the last year of his deal with the New York Giants. Him, like Sterling Shepard, they agreed to that pay cut, which makes them on the last year of his deal. And when you're Blake Martinez, who signed a big money deal to come over from the Green Bay Packers to the New York Giants prior to the 2020 season, you have a lot of pressure on you. And he played great in his first season with the Giants. He was the captain of the defense. He was the heartbeat of that squad. Had 151 tackles. Had 11 tackles for loss. 2 forced fumbles and 3 sacks. And I think in a Wink Martindale system, Blake Martinez is really going to be able to show everybody that he's back. But it's dependent on health. Coming back from that ACL injury. Is he going to be able to get back to that 2020 Martinez? That question, only number 54 can answer. But we already know Blake Martinez is going to be the day one starter for the Giants at the inside linebacker spot. Him and Tay Crowder. Blake Martinez is going to have to show that he can. I don't know what you're saying. Blake Martinez is going to have to show that he can be the guy that can be depended on. He's going to have to show that he can be back for the Giants in 2023, and they're going to have to re-sign him to a contract if they're going to want to do so. I like Blake Martinez, but who knows if he's going to be able to get back to being that 2020 self, where he was one of the best inside linebackers in the NFL. I want him to be back because I think he's a good football player, but he's going to have to earn it. He wasn't signed by Joe Schoen. And when you're a new GM, you're looking to weed out all the old GM's players, and you're looking to prove to yourself and to him that you can be someone you can be depend on. So let's talk about 2 guys that had injuries shorten their 2021 season and also had to take reworked contracts to stay on the team. Which one of these guys do you think is going to be back next season, as in 2023, with the New York Football Giants? Type 3 for Sterling Shepard. Type 54 for Blake Martinez. Last one on today's show. What about Kenny Golladay? Entering year 2 with the Giants after signing that mega deal in free agency where it was like 4 years for $72 million. We know that Golladay did not play good in his first season with the Giants. It was a disaster. He was hurt. He played through injuries. Him and Jason Garrett never got along. We can go back to one of the first games of the season where him and Jason Garrett got into it on the sideline. Him and Daniel Jones never really showed that chemistry and that trust that you want out of your number 1 wide receiver and quarterback. But I still have hope for Kenny Golladay because I've seen him be one of the best receivers in the NFL. Like in 2019 when he had 11 touchdowns and led the NFL in receiving touchdowns. 1,200 yards, 12 TDs. I would sign up for that in a heartbeat. But this is what it boils down to. Kenny Golladay has a $21.4 million cap hit for the 2023 season, and the Giants can save almost $15 million by cutting Golladay next season, which will leave the Giants with about a $7 million cap hit. So if Golladay struggles, and he, battles with injuries again, doesn't get in the end zone, he doesn't look like he can be that number 1 wide receiver again, the Giants are going to cut him so they can save $15 million. He wasn't signed by Joe Schoen, so he's going to look for every opportunity to get off of that contract. And $15 million is a lot of freaking money. Golladay has to prove he could be a wide receiver 1 again. Can he be? No doubt about it. But he's going to have to prove it. We didn't see the wide receiver 1 Kenny Golladay in 2021. 0 touchdowns. He had some big games. He had some big catches. But it is time for him, in only his second year with the Giants, to prove to Joe Schoen and the decision makers on the Giants that he can be the guy they depend on. It's going to be tough for him to do so because it's in a crowded wide receiver room, but I believe he has the talent for sure to do it. Peter, you can just put me full screen. I don't know that's all about. But we also have a bonus make or break season candidate to get to. Saquon Barkley. We couldn't talk about make or break season candidates without bringing up Saquon. Saquon is on the last year of his rookie deal, playing on that 5th-year option, and the Giants are going to have to make a decision for him. Is he going to prove to be a part of their long-term plans? If he has a good season, like he did in his rookie season or in his second season, is Joe Schoen willing to pay him a lot of money? That's a decision that they're going to have to make. I like Saquon. I think he's a great worker. I think he's a great teammate. He never misses a voluntary practice, and he's a captain. But you're paid to produce, and he hasn't done that very often in the past couple of years. In 13 games this year, he had less than 600 yards and 2 touchdowns. In 2020, he played in just 2 games after tearing that ACL in week 2. In 2019, he had a good season. Still missed some time. Over 1,000 yards, had 6 touchdowns, 4.6 yards per pop. But I want to see that 2018 Saquon again, where he had 260 carries for 1,300 yards and 5 yards a pop and 11 touchdowns. But I want to say this. I think Saquon is going to show more as a receiver this year than he ever has. He may not have 91 receptions like he did his rookie season, where Eli Manning would just check it down to him consistently. But can he get back to over 65 receptions? We know that Brian Daboll wants to use him as a playmaker. He's talked about how he's going to be used as a wide receiver. Get back involved in that. He's a playmaker. Just get him the football and let him work. Get him in space and let Saquon Barkley do what Saquon Barkley does. I do want to say this, though. The Saquon Barkley trade rumors that we've talked about a lot on this channel aren't officially dead. And I don't mean dead right now. They're on pause for sure. But when we get back and closer to the 2022 NFL trade deadline, those rumors are going to heat back up. Because if Saquon starts the season off strong, and let's say the Giants start 2-5 before the NFL trade deadline, could they look to get off of him and get an asset back if they decide, you know what, Saquon's not a part of our future. We don't want to re-sign him. So then at the NFL trade deadline, I think those rumors will heat back up. So just stay informed and understand that they're going to heat back up back at the deadline. To get out of here before we end this segment, I want to ask this question. Will Saquon be on the Giants in 2023? Predict it for me. Type Y for yes, or you can go down and type N for no. All righty, I'll give some shout-outs. Should I unplug and replug? Just speak. I'll be right. I'm checking this. Hold on. Checking the audio. All righty, how does that sound? If you can hear me in the chat, type me. Type me in the chat. Let's ride. Yeah, you should have just told me. It's been fine? Okay. You're good. Fred says why. King Wolf says why. Michael Kraus says why. We got Michael says me. King Wolf says me. And the Hammy says me. I appreciate it, fellas. We got some supers to hit. Let's ride. Oh, he's here. We'll get to him in a second. Rudy, new follower, showing my appreciation. Go Giants. Rudy, you just subscribed to the best Giants YouTube channel out there. If you have a question, Rudy, we got a mailbag coming up. Just use hashtag Giants in the comments section, and we'll get your question up on screen. I'll be able to chop some shop with you. So 2 shots for Rudy. Let's ride. And then we'll get to my guy Tutu's in the chat. What up, man? Salute. Marshy, drop by your office to pay our proper respects, and for all Giants fans around the world, slap all stinky Boyd's losers out of your door. Forget about it. Tutu, every Wednesday when I wake up, I head into work and I say, I hope Tutu is going to be in the live chat because he makes it way more fun when Tutu's here. So I got one more shot for my guy, and then I'll get 2 going for Tutu. ECK Sports, what up, man? One of our most loyal subs, but yeah, you're right, man. You haven't been a part of the squad lately. I understand, though. It's June. There's not a lot out there, but if you're looking for Giants content, ECK, you know where to go. All right, this first one's for Tutu, my guy. Rosario says, Wan'Dale Robinson will have a great season as a rookie. I hope you're right. I hope you're right, brother. Enful, I'm going to be honest, I can't read that. If Tony plays all season, Golladay will be wide receiver 2. That's what you got to expect. Tony was taken in the first round for a reason, and he needs to play like it. One more shot, and then we'll get to these mailbags. Tell you what, this fireball, it's hitting. It's extremely fiery, if you know what I'm saying. All right, 2-2. Get a question in, Tutu. I want to answer a question you got about the Giants. Or about your rugby team. We're down for that as well. But we got one more mailbag before we close out today's show. Use hashtag Giants to get your questions in the queue. Like my guy, the Hammy, is. He's got 2 lined up. I appreciate that. Rosario says, I miss him so much, Tutu. Oh, that is fiery. All righty. Let's do it. Let's get into a Giants rumors mailbag right now. Welcome into New York Giants Now by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Marshall Green. And in today's show, we've got a Giants Rumors Mailbag where I answer your questions live, which aired from our live show every Wednesday at 4 p.m. Eastern. But shout out to Aura for being the presenting sponsor of today's show. An all-in-one digital safety tool. Get started with them today. Aura.com/chatsports. They'll hook you up with a 14-day free trial. Michael Kraus, what up, man? Other than Kayvon and Neal, can any other 2022 draftees be a Pro Bowler in 5 years? Wow. That's a good question. I appreciate that. Look, I hope Kayvon and Evan Neal can be Pro Bowlers within 5 years. But what about a guy like Wan'Dale Robinson? A pick that a lot of Giants fans were not a fan of when he was selected in the second round of the NFL draft. I think he has potential to be a playmaker in the NFL and be a guy that's just a generator with the football. What he did at Kentucky was impressive. He was one of the best deep threats in the country, and he was also one of the best yak getters in the country. And I think he's going to fit perfectly into this hybrid system of Brian Daboll and Mike Kafka. One, it's going to be a system where they run a lot of spread formations, where they use receivers in space, speed and space, where they get players the football and they let them operate and try to create a lot after the catch. I think that really benefits a guy like Wan'Dale Robinson. I don't expect him to be a Pro Bowler rookie year, but maybe by year 3, year 4, he can be one of the best Giants receivers and hopefully be one of the best receivers in the NFL. Great question, though, Michael. Rudy, my guy, new to the channel, already being an MVP. Let's ride. Any rookies on the team you think is overrated and potentially will be a disappointment? That's a good question. I don't know if anybody is overrated. I wouldn't say overrated. We haven't seen them actually play football. Until I see them strap up and get on the field in the preseason or the regular season, I think it's too soon to say they're overrated or potentially be a disappointment. But could a guy like Cordell Flott struggle to find his way early on in his NFL career? He's a little lightweight, so he may take some time to put some muscle on. Good question, Rudy, but I don't know if I have enough information exactly to answer it yet. But I'll go out there and say maybe Cordell Flott's the guy that struggles early on and maybe takes a little while to find his groove in the NFL. Appreciate it, though, bro. Danny Pennies, what up, man? Should the Giants have just tore it all the way down this year instead of giving Daniel Jones and Saquon another year? That's a fair question. What you mean by that, I assume, let me know in the comment section if I'm wrong. If you just mean they should have cut bait with a guy like Daniel Jones prior to this year, they should have just traded Saquon Barkley and maybe drafted a quarterback in the first round or traded for future first-round picks. I think that's a fair assumption, but I also think that this might have come from management, and John Mara might have said, you know what, we need to see more from Daniel Jones, because we've heard him say, we've done everything in our power to screw this kid up. I don't think Mara was ready to cut bait on DJ. He wanted to see him with an innovative offensive mind. And he's got 2 in the building now with Kafka and Daboll. Could the Giants have tore it down last year? Sure. I think it would have been a kickstart on a rebuild, and you probably would have been in a better position to draft a quarterback in the 2023 draft. But should they have? I'm not sure. I like what the Giants are doing right now, and I trust Joe Schoen to get it right. But I'll ask you this question since you talked about him. Who's going to be back with the Giants next year? Both of these guys are on the last year of their rookie deals. If they're going to be back, the Giants are going to have to give them extensions. So let me know. Who do you think is more likely to be back with the New York Giants next year? Is it Daniel Jones, type 8? Or if you think Saquon Barkley will be back over Daniel Jones, you can go down and type 26 in the comment section right now. King Wolf, what up, man? If Daniel Jones fails, where do you think he'll end up? Team Tyler Van Dyke. That's the quarterback out of Miami, right? Yeah. Okay, you're Team Van Dyke. As long as we're not Team Will Levis, the guy that puts mayonnaise in his coffee and eats his bananas with the peels on, we're cool. I don't know where he'll end up, but I think he will get a job as a backup quarterback. I could see Daniel Jones being a long-term backup QB in the NFL. Yeah, kind of like the Mitchell Trubisky route, as my producer tells me in my ear. I don't know, though, if 1 year as a backup will get it done for Daniel Jones to be a starter again. But we do know that Daniel Jones is one of the smartest QBs in the NFL. Davis Webb has said that. And sometimes as a backup, all you have to do is know the X's and O's. You don't really have to be that great at actually playing quarterback. Shout out to, I'm blanking on the name. What's the backup quarterback from Missouri that's been all over? Is it Chase Daniels? Chase Daniels, yes. He's made a whole lot of money. He's made a whole lot of money in the NFL. I could see Danny Dimes being a backup quarterback for a very long time. But where? That's tough. I'm not sure I can give an educated answer on that. But if he doesn't play good, I can guarantee you this. He won't be on the Giants next year. If you haven't yet, get hooked up with our presenting sponsor, Aura. Keep your identity secure with extensive monitoring of your personal info. And get started with a 14-day free trial at aura.com/chatsports. You can get near real-time alerts on suspicious credit inquiries. And I should have done that. I was sleeping. I thought, you know what? I couldn't be the guy that gets hacked and gets their information stolen by the hacksters. Silly me. They did that. They spent $700 in a store in Oregon that I've never heard of. But now I got hooked up with Aura, and I've been good to go ever since. So do the same. Get started with the 14-day free trial at aura.com/chatsports. The Hammy, what up, man? I like your picture. Do you think Tibbs will get a sack a game? I saw him say that. He was asked about what he was expecting out of his rookie year. And he said, if I can get a sack every single game, I'd be feeling good. If Kayvon Thibodeau has 17 sacks to end his rookie season, I might have to get a Kayvon Thibodeau tattoo because that man is going to be an absolute beast. Do I think he has 17 sacks his rookie season? No. But can I hope for double digits? I think that's fair. Appreciate your question, bro. Chris Jones, 22. What are the chances of Kadarius Toney being the Giants' wide receiver 1 this year? 100%. I think he should be and needs to be. I like Kenny Golladay, but I think the way this offense is moving and the way the NFL is moving, the 6'4" outside wide receiver that has a limited route tree is no longer going to be the guy that he used to be in the NFL. That's what Golladay is. Kadarius Toney, he can play in the slot. He can play in the backfield. He can line up out wide. I think he's kind of a hybrid of Tyreek Hill and Deebo Samuel. I'm expecting Kadarius Toney to get carries this year. How much? I don't know. But I want to say this about Toney. I feel like his inability to produce was due to the coaching staff and the fact that he really didn't play all that much last year. Let's look at the stats. In week 1, he played 8% of the snaps. In week 2, 28% of the snaps. Week 3 started to get more involved, 66% of the snaps. And then in week 4, he settled in and found his groove. 6 catches, 78 yards, played almost 80% of the snaps. And then in week 5, he had one of the best games a rookie wide receiver has ever had. 10 grabs for 189 yards with Mike Glennon at the helm. And the snap count started to go down. 8 snaps in week 6, 50% pretty much the rest of the way. Kadarius Toney needs to be a focal point of this offense. You made him a selection with a premium pick and a first-round pick. Yes, it wasn't Joe Sheen, but that's the hand you got dealt. Toney has all the talent to be one of the best receivers in the NFL. I think it was the lack of wanting to get him involved, the lack of finding ways to make him an effective weapon last year that hurt him, but I don't think that's going to be the problem this year with Kafka and Daboll at the helm. I think they're going to do everything possible to get the ball in the hands of Toney and find out what he can be as a playmaker in the NFL. So let's set the benchmark at 8 touchdowns. Let's play a little game of over and under. 8 TDs for Kadarius Toney next year. Type O for over if you think he scores more than 8 TDs. Or if you think he scores less than 8 TDs, you can go down in the comment section, type U for under. I think 8 is a good number. I think that's where I'd like to see him sit. Last year he didn't score any. I think 8 is a good number. He might be right at that. But I'll leave the question to you. Type O for over, type U for under. Ty, what up, man? What do you think of Jimmy Johnson saying with Brian Daboll the Giants are in a good spot? I think the Giants are in a good spot with Brian Daboll. I saw what Jimmy Johnson had to say about him. I think this is the best head coach the Giants have had since Tom Coughlin. Benny McAdoo, get out of here. Pat Shurmur, get out of here. Joe Judge, we'll see you later. Brian Daboll is a legit NFL coach. He was one of the best offensive coordinators the past couple of years in the NFL. We saw what he did with Josh Allen. That doesn't mean he's going to do that with Daniel Jones, but can he get the absolute best and squeeze the most juice out of Daniel Jones as possible? I think he can do so. I think the Giants have a plan, they have a vision, and they have the people in authoritative positions to lead that charge. I like Daboll. I like Kafka. I like Wink Martindale, and I am a big fan of Joe Shane. For the first time in a while, I actually do trust that this Giants regime is going to get it right, That's what Jimmy Johnson was saying. I appreciate your question, Ty. Philly Bowl, New York Giant. We got a Philly fan or a Giants fan from Philly. Giants seem thin at wide receiver. Should they sign him? Well, let's see. Sign Will Fuller, excuse me. I was seeing my tweet deck. I saw some news around the New York Knicks and DeJounte Murray. That caught me off guard. But yeah, I think the Giants could go out and use a wide receiver. Should it be Will Fuller, though? I'm not too sold on Will Fuller. He has been one of the most polarizing wide receivers in NFL history. When he's on the field and when he's healthy, he's great. No doubt about it. Him and Deshaun Watson were one of the best duos in the NFL. He's played in 55 games in his NFL career, but he's also missed, drum roll, 58 games in his NFL career. He's played less than 50% of his games. Is he fast? Is he a deep threat? No doubt about it. But I would like to steal this line from my producer, Matthew Peterson. The best ability is availability. And if you've missed already 58 games in your young NFL career, I can't count on you, especially when you look at the Giants wide receiver depth chart and see that there's a lot of players on this depth chart that are injury prone. And Kenny Golladay, Sterling Shepard, Kadarius Toney, those guys have all missed significant time for being hurt. So no, I don't really think it makes all that much sense to go out and sign Will Fuller. Is he a good football player? Yes. Do the Giants need to sign another wide receiver? Yes. Do they need to sign one that's missed 58 games in his NFL career? No. I really think it is that simple. His talent's there. His availability is sketchy at best. So I would type N in the comment section for no. I would not sign Will Fuller, no matter the price tag. If it was a veteran minimum or something else, I think you would just be taking away the reps in the offseason from somebody that's actually going to be playing in the regular season. But I'll ask you this question. Type Y for yes, or you're not, type N for no for sign Will Fuller. Last question from my guy, Enifel0911. If I said that wrong, shame on me. I'm a loser. Giants have been horrible at being on the ball fast. We'll need to use if we use motion. Need time to run motion and read defense. I'm expecting this Giants offense under Brian Daboll and Mike Kafka to look way different than any Giants offense I think I've ever seen in my Giants life. We're going to see a whole bunch of sets with 4 wide receivers out there, no tight ends, and Daniel Jones and a running back in the backfield. That hasn't been a thing in the past. We've seen the Giants do a lot of 2 running back systems with a running back and a fullback, multiple tight ends. That's not going to be the case this year. There will be more motion, there will be more deception, and there will be a lot more plays that benefit the playmakers on this team. And it's not going to be a cookie-cutter offense where it's you got to do this the exact same way that I said and wrote it on paper. It's not going to be that way. It's going to be very different than we saw with Jason Garrett, with Kevin Gilbride, and what we saw with Pat Shurmur. I think Daboll and Kafka are really going to shake stuff up this year. Answer this one for me, though. Should the Giants sign Will Fuller? Man, who really knows? I mean, I don't think they'll do it. I don't think they should do it. It's going to be a player that hasn't played a lot. He's a good football player, but when you've played 55 games and missed 58 games, I'll see a hard pass. Mike Glenn, I think you will have both Daniel Jones and Barkley or neither one. If you are bringing back Barkley as one of the highest paid running backs, both him and DJ balled out, and the Giants are close to competing. I think you're right. I think it could be all or nothing. If they both play well, if the Giants are good this year and they're competing for the playoffs, I see both back. If they're bad and the Giants are bad, it'll be the last time we see 26 Barkley wearing Giants blue. 2-2. Is he super chatting again? He's trying to get me 2 super chats, so 4 shots. That's the most I can do. 2-2. Our entire Italian national rugby team would like to give a massive shout out to our Italian elder and NY Giants fan legend, Mr. Rosario Guzzo. Mr. Rosario Guzzo is one of the realest Giants Now fans there is. I see him all the time watching videos. I see him in the comments section. So shout out to him. And 2-2, shout out for you for always being the MVP of these live shows. You make them worthwhile. I appreciate you. Marshy, I think it's hilarious that Marshy has become a thing here. It's a shout out to Jeremy Chugs for that. But 2-2 says, Marshy, please make it an official announcement on your live show. We'll be at the Link December 11th at the Giants-Eagles game. All Boyd's losers pull up and show out, or shut up, shut the hell up. 2020 Spartan strong. Let's ride. Rosario Guzzo, Giants get 50 sacks. I want 30 sacks between Azeez Ojulari, Kayvon Thibodeau, and Leonard Williams. I think that's doable, and I don't think that's unrealistic. That should be an achievable goal for them, no doubt. Look, those are three guys that can rack up the sack numbers. Yeah, Dad, I agree with you. That's my dad. Type Fred in the comment section because he's my pops. He's my guy. Yeah, no way on Will Fuller. He's fast, but he's also fast to the sideline because he's hurt all the time. Dustin Mosley says, hey, Rosario. Rosario is the people's champ, it sounds like. I need to talk to Rosario and see how I can get the love that he gets on this channel. Tutu, you are the man. Thank you. Honestly, shout out to Tutu. He makes all these lives fun. Tutu, this one's for you. Alrighty, before we get on out of here, if you haven't yet, what's your first time watching a Giants Now? Go down right now, hit that big red button. We are less than 300 subscribers away from getting to 10,000 subs. It's a pretty cool accomplishment. It's a shout out to everybody that watches these videos, that everyone that hits that big red button, that likes the videos, that comments on the videos. We started doing videos consistently on this channel about a year ago, and to be at 10,000 subs is a credit to all of you guys. So thank you. You let a kid from Houston, Texas, born in Long Island, talk about the New York Giants every day. So I appreciate you. If you love the Giants, if you love what we do, share the channel to a friend. And if you haven't yet, go down and hit that big red button right now.